Let's go in. Let's go. I'm just getting a few things ready real quick. I hope you guys have a good night. Good luck on your runs. Talk in the chat. I haven't listened to that. Good luck with y'all's runs. Alright chat, so this is the game plan. The overlays are going to be switched up in a minute because we're going to find ourselves a jump shot while we run. And we're going to, since I'm running solo tonight, I'm not going to play music like I normally do with the game. We're going to watch a video, watch some videos. So, and listen to some videos more. I'm going to listen to some videos, but I'm going to set it up to where you can see it too. It will block a little section of the right under my camera. Right on here is where the video will be. It's going to block a little bit of the gameplay, but you'll still be able to see most of the stats and all that and everything still. So, I'm going to go ahead and switch that down now. And we're going to kill the tunes. Actually, we're gonna let the tunes play while we take our rippy rip. Clean this bad boy out. Get a couple swaps for the stream, so you gotta keep digging for them. Alcohol. ALCOHOL. Isopropyl. Let's clean it out. Damn, man, that's a lot of dab I wasted right there.
It is what it is, Chad.
It's a lot. Before we dig into this jump shot hunt, we're gonna hunt for a jump shot because I'm tired of using just the base jump shot. I just haven't taken the time to sit down and find one. Pros and cons of a new 2K game and new 2K characters. You gotta find the perfect jump shot. You gotta find the moves. You gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta learn the way they redid the moves because I was fucking up skill dunks earlier. Apparently that's not a thing no more. So yeah, man. Learn, lots of learning. Lots of adjusting. But cheers, chat. Let's get one in real quick. Tap into the stream. Cheers. Tap into the stream. Let's go. How's everyone's night going so far? Ed, is that you still in here? How's your night going, bro? Pro gonna end up with Steph, Cam. That's what you think? Do you have any weaknesses? It says I have. How do you see that? We need to hurry up and get you in here, bro. Look, there's 33 of 50. It's almost full, Ed. It's almost full. I'm looking. Sorry, I just have it. It's way over here. Way over here. Let me adjust it to where I can see it a little bit. There we go. Rep rewards? Hold on. I don't know how to look at it just from there. Alright, so edit. Here we go. So this is my build right here. Let me know what you think. Oh, you're on here? I thought you were at work, bro. So what's going on right now is they're all playing right now, like Strax, K, all of them, they're playing, but the fucking cross-platform right now, Ed, is down. So I've literally just been playing by myself. I did get to play with Corbin and Strex earlier because we found the way you have to do it now is you have to find some random person in the city that's like with you and try to get them in your squad that's like on an Xbox, because we're PlayStation, right? Or vice versa, if you're on Xbox, find someone with the PlayStation, bring them to your thing, have them add like whoever your friend is on Xbox or PlayStation, then invite them to the squad. That's how you have to do it. And you can't even add them from there. Like, you can't add them as a friend from there. It still doesn't work. So like, if you want to run with them, you have to, if we wanted to run with them, us or one of them would have to do that every single time. So it's probably going to be like that until release date. Or it might fucking be like that all the way up until, according to the news, it says it's not going to drop it, the 2K news and updates if you're in the Discord server, if you're probably following them on X. The first update, patch release update, it's not going to be until right before like Season 2, apparently. It says prior to Season 2, no actual release date. What do you mean you're in the game? I don't understand. You're in the game. Like, you're on it on your phone? Or you got it to work? Is that what you're saying? I'm at 86. Or I have the 86 potential. Oh fuck. There's a fucking, what's it called for this right now, so let's just go ahead and do this real quick, because there's a, what's it called? What am I trying to do? Move to targets, move L, okay. Oh. What are you, when do you get paid? What's the date you get paid? Because I remember you said you had an obligation first. That's why you weren't able to cop the game, right? Isn't that what it was? Your rent, right? Bro, I'm right here. Oh, I have to sprint. Wednesday. Shoot 3 jump shots. The rhythm shooting's so weird on this game too, bro. And you'll still have a little bit left over for all your bullshit you need to do, plus some VC. No, I don't have the meter. No, it's just in this. It's just 2KU. Bro, I might just need to put Shades jump shot on, bro. Oh, whoops. Nope. You're gonna want to use meter on your layups, that's it. Oh, that's not a normal layout? Okay. I guess that's a floater, technically. I think it helps me more. I see it, but Drew did say it like boosts your shot without it. I don't know, 100%. Okay, while moving around the perimeter, press and hold. Shoot moving 3. No, bro, that's not how I shoot. Bro, I can't see the fucking meter over there. Whoops, inside. Yeah, I don't know either, bro. I just know that what's it called? While moving around the perimeter, press and hold. Bro, I don't get it. Oh, okay, they don't want me to hold. Okay, alright. Bruh. What am I doing? What's the objective here? I didn't. I guess. Make a normal pass. Make 3 normal passes. Press L in the direction you want to pass, then.
Welcome to the next level.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Jokic. Bro, how long is this gonna take? How many fucking things is this? I don't want to do drills. Yeah, I'm not trying to do drills, bro. What's up? And if you just green the tempo, it goes in, Ed. If you just green the tempo. What? Oh, I'm playing defense now. Okay. I was like, why am I not moving? Oh. What? I'm confused. Okay. Alright. They just want me to fucking move around like that. Steal the ball. Give me that ball, Looney. Give me that ball, Looney. Really? Grab 3 rebounds. Oh, that's not. I need to green it. Oh. Bro. I guess this is how you can bet to learn them drilling. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm gonna do with him. I gotta block it. That's what they want. Fuck, I got distracted. There we go. Too slow. Damn. Who's my 5, bro? Square, circle. Oh, okay. I can do this. No problem. Hope I didn't get ahead of myself. You get this is the reason why we're doing this is so we can get extra cat breakers. These are little mini challenges that need to be done, and completing one of these tutorials is one of those quests. So fuck me. No, I don't have. What do you mean to pass? Like the for the three rewards? No, I don't got the pass. No, not yet. No, I'm not worried about it. I got 3 I got 3 fucking 3 2-hour XP tokens. I'm not worried about that. I'm waiting for them to patch the fucking. I'm waiting for them to patch the shit and then, you know, run with the squad. And so right now, basically all I'm doing is fucking leveling up my character. So I'll probably be spending money right now on VC. And then whenever they've patched that, I'll fucking, yeah, let's go. Whenever they patch that, I'll fucking buy the pass and start using my fucking coins, you know. Unless it doesn't look like they're gonna patch it before. Before next season. Oh, bro, their Strex is 96 and 92 on 1. Andrew's 92. Kaloon's 92. Yeah, everyone's already 90 plus. Because Strex has been off of work, so he has all day, and he said he hasn't played anything besides 2K. I'm sure Kay's done the same in his off time. And Andrew, they all can game together, you know, and they've been that day one. I think they only lost like 1 or 2 games. They played pretty much all day one. I didn't get to get it day one, so day one of early release. I had it day 2, and even then I didn't really play because I can't play with no one. Lord knows I'm trying though. Bruh. Hey, we let him get 10. See if we can get 30 really quick though. What's up, chat? What's up? No, I don't want to do that. Oh my god. What the fuck? I guess we might as well do it real quick, chat. Right? No. Clinic. Never mind. Advanced shots. Okay. Bro, can I just go through them in order or what? They won't just like give it to me like they did earlier? So bam.
So I should have all the elements ready to go. But what we need drums.
Bro, why is it not let me do it from the left side? So you can block yourself from the defender. Okay, I see. Yeah, they've been grounded in. Let's just say that. They've been grounded. Okay. Bro. Okay. That's all of them? This is that gather. This is that slowing down the gather stuff. Let's practice it again. I thought they took it off.
Check it out. Biggest, check it out. Biggest, check it out.
I ain't seen me no.
Biggest, check it out. Draft. Check it out. Check it out. Biggest, check it out.
What the fuck? Hold plus double tap or rotate in a quarter circle from the right when holding the left right hand. Finish the shot out of the gathered. I'm doing something wrong. Right one in a quarter circle. Has to be wrong. We're done with that. We're done with that for now. Oh shit. Let's go beat some of the Street Kings real quick, and then we'll try to play a rap game before we hop off of that. I had an interview this morning at Walmart. After the job, so I'm just gonna have to start streaming on the schedule. So whenever I say I'm gonna run, I hope you'll you want me to. Uncharted James. This is what I was cooking earlier. I should have me a couple good teammates now. Wait a minute, what? They're all shorties? They are. So fatty around here. Oh fuck, we were supposed to find a jump shot real quick. We will. We're gonna put this and we're gonna find a jump shot real quick. Ready? Four. I'll actually stop it already going right now.
I told her call me Rocky, she say she not gon' call me that. You say you come with a lot, well baby I want all of that. Your mama a party girl, she just want fun. She say she not gon' call me that. You say you come with a lot, well baby I want all of that. Your mama a party girl, she just want fun. I told her call me Rocky, she say she not gon' call me that. Well, baby, I want all of that. Your mama a party girl, she just want fun too.
Let's see if we can do good.
She say she not gon' call me that. You say you come with a lot, well baby, I want all of that. Your mama a party girl, she just want fun too. I told her call me Rock. She not gon' call me that. You say you come with a lot, well baby, I want all of that. Your mama a party girl, she just want fun too. I told her call me Rock. She say she. I told her call me Rock. She say she not gon' call.
Don't make me wait too long.
And here's June. His grandfather died in World War II, took a bullet straight to the head. Such a strong man. But June can shoot the lights out the same way they did to his grandpa. And here's June. His grandfather died in World War II, took a bullet straight to the head. Such a strong man. But June can shoot the lights out the same way they did to his...
Oscar Robertson and Beluga. Who's that bass? Can you see? No, y'all obviously can't see that. Oh, Jamal Crawford. I think that's what it is. I'm like, what the fuck is that music from? It must be from the parks. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Who are we looking for? Hold on. I'm not leaving chat, but I'm leaving on, like it's gonna say I'm out of the stream. I'm trying to see who this jump shot is. Sorry for that. I can't even see on the phone. Jarrett Culver. Who the fuck is that? Maybe I'm too short for him. Okay, let's get to a different shot then.
His grandpa.
Alright, here we go. This is what we're looking at. From 6'4" chat. Show the build, man, or show the shot, bro. We'll just. Michael Porter Jr., Steph. I can't use Steph right now. Oh, this is 25. How come no one said something? How come no one said something? Oh, not 6'6". We need. Bruh.
If you have a 6'4" build with a lower 3 ball, or you haven't hit starter 4, this is going to be the jump shot for you. Lower base, Austin Reeves. Upper release 1, Cole Anthony. Upper release 2, Damian Leonard. And then for the visual cue, you want to have it at release. Release speed 3/4, and then for the blend, you want to do 60% Cole Anthony, 40% Damian Leonard. If you have a 6'4" build with a lower 3 ball, or you haven't hit starter 4, this is going to be the jump shot for you. Lower base, Austin Reeves. Upper release 1, Cole Anthony. Upper release 2, Damian Leonard. And then for the visual cue, you want to have it at release. Release speed 3/4, and then for the blend, you want to do 60% Cole Anthony, 40% Damian Leonard. If you have a 6'4" build with a lower 3 ball, or you haven't hit starter 4, this is going to be the jump shot for you. Lower base, Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves, just in case. Okay.
And if those issues aren't strange enough, there are, of course, worse ones. Reddit user Zippy Apple wrote that Razer Synapse can't even detect his Razer laptop, and that all settings go back to factory defaults. UltrabookReview.com's review of a notebook echoed a lot of the complaints around Synapse that we found on Reddit. This one through a review.
Big fan, man.
Called Synapse, quote, buggy, unquote, noted double registration of key presses, matching what Josh saw, and referenced stuttering in games, like what the Reddit user saw. The reviewer wrote, quote, however, it's important to understand that you can't run the laptop at higher power without Synapse, as it needs it for the higher power profiles and settings. So even if you install a fresh Windows copy on your unit, you'd still have to install Synapse as well, end quote. Ultrabook Review also noted some of the performance issues that Synapse brought, highlighting dropped frames when Synapse is open and reinforcing user complaints that closing it resolves the issue, but eliminates other functionality of the laptop. Speaking of performance issues, while digging around, and basically what we were doing was trying to categorize what are the key problems here. One of the key problems that we were able to give its own category is abnormally poor performance on battery. It's normal for performance to be worse on battery, but this is like exceptionally bad in a particularly impressive way, not a good one. So we dug up countless reports of this issue. They all seem to be related. This user said even web pages take forever to load on battery, noting that he updated all the drivers and performed a factory reset twice. Regardless of these attempts, he noted that, quote, it still performs worse than my 2024 Blade 16, end quote, which was equipped with 64 gigabytes of RAM, 4 terabytes of storage, and an RTX 4090 GPU. He concluded, quote, If I could, I would probably return for a refund. Be warned, end quote. This other user said that CPU single core performance tanks on battery, calling it, quote, slower than almost any gaming laptop I've ever tested, end quote. Another user complained about the laptop's performance while running on battery, this time citing issues with streaming video and even just typing. The user said that even offline video playback is laggy. In a review on Crimson Tech of the 2025 version of the Razer Blade 16, which was equipped with a 5070 Ti GPU, the publication stated, quote,
So a couple of weeks back, everyone's favorite industry plant, Bobby Althoff, announced that her podcast would be coming to an end.
As you guys know, this podcast started off just with a girl with a dream to make more money. And I knew when I started that I didn't know I would fall off as quickly as I did. To be honest, I did think this was going to last a bit longer. But nevertheless, it lasted a minute, and I'm proud of the accomplishments I have. And I'm pretty sad that it has to end like this, but it's okay.
Now, immediately this raised a lot of suspicions, mainly because Bobby has made it beyond clear by now that her main MO in life is to be an A-list celebrity and to make as much money as possible.
How'd you become an influencer or creator?
Just wanting to make money. I hope that I go from D-list to A-list. That's my goal in 10 years.
From D-list to A-list?
Yes.
And it was hard to realistically see her stepping away from her career so quickly, especially when the industry was so clearly behind her movement this entire time.
Okay, alright, so
she had
D
announced
for
her
height.
roll off. She really had not been up to much. Her YouTube channel had essentially gone completely dark, and she had only made one extremely awkward appearance on Nick Cannon's podcast.
I did her podcast, so I forced her to do mine.
Alright, and
the
then
one and only Bobby Althoff. Y'all make some noise for her.
Now, to be fair to her, this was a live show, and I'm sure she was nervous. But Bobby was about as dry as a plain piece of toast here. Like, she went right back to her ways of no seasoning, like a dry-ass piece of chicken, spending the entire 40 minutes looking down, stirring her drink, playing with her bracelet, and honestly ruining the show.
Bobby, you got any advice for her?
No.
Have you ever been in it, like, you know, your family care for any of your relationships?
No, my parents are supportive of me in my life.
You got good parents.
True.
That's amazing. Doc, you got any
Release
expert
1,
advice for
Cole
her?
Anthony. Upper release 2, Damian Leonard. And then for the visual cue, you want to have it at release. Release speed 3/4. And then for the blend, you want to do 6.
I'm sure that she would be pissed off. Especially when you consider that the entire concept of her show is someone literally playing along with her dry pants style of humor.
We'd have to do a whole episode with
When you're not playing with saves, yeah, I just splashed water all over you.
squirting all over the place.
Don't do that.
What?
Don't do that.
It's moist.
It's disgusting.
What? You took it to a sexual connotation. You literally squirted right there with the water.
So you had no sexual connotation.
No, I didn't plan that. I didn't plan for us to meet today and you squirt all over.
Alright.
And every time that he tried to include her in
Let's work on this jumper in here.
something, she would give him nothing.
What if you walked in on your man and saw him, you know, going for the goal? Would you say something to him?
No.
You would just let him keep going?
Nick Cannon even calls her out on this, saying that she was all up in his business, cracking on his life during her show.
All right, so we're going to take this moment, Bobby, to get all in your business, since you got in my business.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the clip you just posted of me, you literally asked me, do I even, what did you say, do I know what a condom is? All my kids are on
fairy dust and defense. What do they all have in common? Nothing can help you stop.
If I didn't know what a condom is, I'd be like,
But now that the tables have turned, she doesn't like it. The most intriguing thing that she talks about here is a new relationship that she is now in and how it impacts her kids.
At what point do you say, all right, now
I've already beat 2 guys in here earlier.
Well, I didn't introduce like any of the other people where it was more casual.
But instead of streaming, I decided to take a nap.
But once it was serious, and it was someone who I wanted to be in my life every day. But to this day, they still think he's just a friend of mine. They don't. I'm not like kissing in front of them or anything. Like they think it's just a friend they're meeting, and I have male friends who are around all the time.
So there's no difference.
He's different than a friend, but
Now, something else I talked about in my last video was Drake literally begging Bobby in her comment section to unmute his name. I'm sure y'all remember that he was the one to really give her the big break. The rumors were that this was the interview that led to her eventual divorce after she missed her daughter's birthday to be in that hotel bed.
See, Bobby was an ID, wasn't it? See, Bobby was an ID. Yeah.
Okay.
You invited me on the videos?
You may also remember that back then she had gone to one of his shows and acted completely unimpressed the entire time. And eventually their episode would infamously be deleted altogether. But now she posted another video, this time backstage at Drake's recent show, talking to Norman Last and saying that she would never act uninterested at his performance again. And this was actually just all part of the rollout. She is now jumping back in bed with the 69 God himself, as he once again has ushered her, literally, into the bedroom to attempt to revamp her career that has at this point lost most of its steam. But before we get into that, I need to talk to you guys about today's video sponsor, Current. The banking experience that provides you flexibility with your hard-earned cash, while also helping you avoid paying frivolous fees. With features like a paycheck advance of up to $750 and fee-free overdraft of up to $200, Current definitely gives you some leeway to make your money stretch. You can also get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit, which can obviously help you avoid late fees on bills and other expenses. They also offer a credit built-in card, which on
We forgot to fucking put on the
in just 6 months of use. And
fucking jump shot, damn it.
Back on savings, which is really awesome because a lot of people seem to just park their money where it's really doing nothing for them. And with access to over 40,000 fee-free ATMs, which is easy to use with Current. And when you sign up at current.com/Jamari and use my code Jamari50 at checkout, you will get $50 on us and unlock tools like Paycheck Advance and the credit building I mentioned earlier, amongst much more. So go check Current out today. Terms and conditions do apply.
No, they haven't.
Welcome to a much more refined, poised, and pleasant podcast.
Pleasant? I don't know about that.
I know.
I think that was just a word you
I'm trying to get you grandiose.
Oh, so you want me to be more pleasant?
No, I'm just saying. I was
Stop.
Who is this 6 foot?
Welcome
So
to
it's 5'11",
Hey,
5'10", I mean,
welcome to
6 foot
a much more
and 6'2", so
serene and solidarity.
Now, I don't really know who is genuinely consuming hours of this type of humor. Like, maybe it's just not for me, but I just don't find it funny. Like, how long can you run with the same bit of trying to force awkwardness?
Welcome to a much more scenic, serene.
this is video boring too.
And by comparison, this new style of slam is very safe, very accessible, just not interesting to me at all. It's like non-alcoholic vodka. What's up, everybody? I'm Finn McKenty. This is the Punk Rock MBA, and welcome back to my What Killed the Genre series, where I usually look at genres that have fallen off in terms of commercial popularity, and I try to figure out what happened. But this one is going to be a little bit different, because I'm here to talk about a genre that basically never had any commercial success and still doesn't, and that is slam. And if you're not familiar with slam, basically what that means is bands that sound like this, or this. Slam is actually more popular than ever, where popular means that it has like a solid, engaged underground following, but at the expense of everything that made me love slam in the first place. Basically, what I hear a lot of people call slam these days is very clean, safe, sterile stuff that sounds much more like deathcore or death metal than what I would have ever thought of as slam. And yes, this is me being a slam hipster. I'm very aware of this. This is me being like the real emo people who say My Chemical Romance ruined everything, and that stuff you guys listen to now isn't real emo. Why don't you go listen to some Cap'n Jazz and Braid, modern baseball? And one quick note, there's unfortunately a lot of misogynist stuff in this genre, which I really can't stand, and I want to be super clear that I definitely do not support any of that. So if there's a band that you don't hear me mention and you're wondering why, that could be the reason. So I don't know, call me an SJW if you want, but that's how I feel. Before I get into it, I want to quickly plug my Instagram. I've been posting a whole lot more on there lately, so if you like this video or any of my other videos, I would love it if you give me a follow over there. There's a link in the description. And one last note, I want to give a shout out to Brad Fincher from Devourment for helping me brainstorm and fact check some of this. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Part 1, the Liege of Inveracity riff. Ever since I first discovered metal and hardcore back when I bought the Suicidal Tendencies Lights Camera Revolution album, I was always looking for something more extreme. Something heavier, faster, more brutal, more aggressive, just anything that was more extreme. And this was the early 90s, but obviously we didn't have streaming, so discovering new bands or genres was mostly trial and error. You'd basically buy an album based on a hunch because you heard their name mentioned in an interview or in the thanks list on an album you like, or maybe you saw the sticker on someone's guitar, or maybe just because they had a cool name or cover art. I discovered some great bands like Sepultura, The Accused, Morbid Angel, tons more. And I loved all those bands, and I still do, but it wasn't until I bought Effigy the Forgotten by Suffocation in I think 93 or 94 that I finally heard it. The sound that was in my head, but I'd never actually heard before. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that there was one particular part on that album that changed everything for me, which is this one riff from the song Liege of Inveracity. Pretty slammy, right? As soon as I heard that, I was hooked. I wanted a whole album that sounded like that. No, wait, fuck that. I wanted a whole genre that sounded like that one part. And in fact, if I had to point to one specific moment as the birth of slam, it would be that exact part. Because I think there were thousands of people all over the planet who had the same experience I did and started their own band with the concept behind the band being basically all our songs will sound like that one Suffocation part. And that's why I point to it as the Adam and Eve of slam. Part 2, what exactly is slam? Before I move on, let me plant a stake in the ground and very specifically define what slam means to me. If you have a different idea of it, that's totally cool. Like I said, I'm not trying to force my opinion on anyone. I just want to be super clear about what I'm talking about when I personally say slam in this video. To me, these are the defining elements. First, slam riffs, obviously. I'm talking about those slow, chuggy, palm-muted power chords with lots of chromatic notes and pinch harmonics. For example, second, the vocals. It has to have those ultra guttural, gurgling vocals. For example, there's no highs, there's no growls, and obviously there can be no cleans. And speaking of which, let me also spell out the things that slam does not have in my definition of it. First of all, no skank beats ever. This is a skank beat if you're not sure what I'm talking about. No solos, no sweep picking, and no tremolo riffing, ever. And this, for anybody who's not sure, is a tremolo riff. If the guitarist is doing any of that stuff, it's just death metal, it's not slam. Also, no breakdowns. Don't get me wrong, I love breakdowns as much as the next guy, probably actually a lot more than the next guy, but they aren't slam. And I also love Ariana Grande, but she isn't slam either. And lastly, although not, I guess, strictly a requirement, to me, slam is also defined by two more things. First, the production, which I guess we could charitably call raw, but I think most people would just call awful. And I guess objectively speaking, it is awful, but awful in a way that sounds great to me for the genre. For example, I think this sounds fucking great. And last but definitely not least, the ringy cranked snares. For example, Again, this is my admittedly super specific definition of the genre, and feel free to disagree, but now that we all know exactly what I'm talking about when I say slam in this video, let's move on and talk about how it came to be. Part 3, Proto Slam, from roughly 1991 to 1995. Like I said, although Suffocation were definitely the best known band playing this style in the early 90s, they certainly weren't the only ones. So first of all, along with Suffocation, there were a handful of bands from Long Island doing roughly that same kind of style, and I was very into that New York death metal sound because back then it had that bouncy, slamming kind of groove that really nobody else was doing until true slam came along. The most notable bands in that kind of scene, in my opinion, are Internal Bleeding, and Pyrexia. And if you're into this sound, there's a bunch of other proto-slam New York death metal bands of that era you might want to check out, such as Skinless, Baphomet, Afterbirth, and Dehumanized, among many others. This scene had so many great bands in the 90s. And of course, I also have to mention Dying Fetus, who had some very slammy parts like this one from their 93 demo. And lastly, Disgorged from San Diego, who are so ahead of their time. I mean, listen to this, and keep in mind, this is from 1992, a quarter of a century ago. So there were all these bands in the early to mid 90s flirting with slam that had some slam parts here and there, but it wasn't until the late 90s that what I would call true slam came into existence. Which brings us to part 4, the birth of true slam from roughly 1996 to 2000. Essentially, there were a few bands scattered all over the country who had the same idea that I did of, hey, wait a minute, what if we made a whole band that sounded like that one part in Legion and Veracity? Only, unlike me, they actually got off their asses and started a band. Repudiation from Long Island were the first band that I heard to do truly pure slam. I remember getting this demo at the, I think, 1997 Ohio Death Fest. Internal Bleeding played that one, and I think their guitarist Chris recommended it to me because I have this really vivid memory of someone saying to me in a super thick Long Island accent, "It's fucking brutal, bro," which it definitely is. And then there was also Deprecated from San Diego, who didn't have the straight up gurgle vocals, but were slamming pretty hard. And you may know their bassist Derek Boyer, who went on to be in Decrepit Birth, Deeds of Flesh, and Suffocation, among many other great bands. This was his first band. I think they were like 17 or 18 when they did this demo, which is pretty amazing. And last but definitely not least, the band that put slam on the map, Devourment. If I was to point to one song that's the template for modern slam, it would be the song Baby Killer from their album 138. This was Slam's first hit single because, I mean, how fucking catchy is this song, right? It maybe wasn't as absurdly brutal as Repudiation, which was just so heavy that it's one small step from straight up noise, but what they gave up in terms of brutality, they made up for with the catchiness. This is like the Hit Me Baby One More Time of Slam. You just kind of can't help but bob your head to it, right? And it actually even kind of has a chorus with a few words you can understand. They put all the elements together into one neat package in a way that nobody else had to date. They laid the blueprint for slam, people from all over the world noticed, and it opened the floodgates for what to me was the golden years of slam. Which brings us to part 5, the golden years from 2001 to maybe 2010. I call these the golden years because for a while there in the mid-2000s, it felt like I was discovering a sick new slam band like every week. I can't list them all, so as I always say in these videos, please don't be the "why didn't you mention this band or that band" guy. But here's just a few of the most notable ones. First of all, there was this whole crop of really fucking good Japanese bands like Gorevent, Vomit Remnants, Rest and Gore, and my personal favorites, Disconformity. And And over in Europe, there are quite a few great bands as well, some of which I'm not going to name because they get a little bit too misogynist, but definitely check out Defeated Sanity as one example of this, especially their album Psalms of the Moribund from 2007, which is just premium slam. And speaking of Europe, of course I have to mention Epicardiectomy, who got a lot of attention for their Mountains of Death video. If you've ever heard the "Let me see some hammers" meme in the comments or whatever of a slam video, it's from this video, and I would definitely recommend you watch this whole thing because it is just amazing. Bordering on unintentional performance art. And then there's all the Russian stuff like Catalepsy and Abominable Putridity. Now, I want to pause really quickly to highlight something. You'll notice that this Russian stuff sounds a lot cleaner, a lot more death metal than the other stuff I played. That is why I personally didn't like it as much, but more importantly, I want you to just make a little mental note of that, file it away, because I'm going to come back to that in a few minutes. But in my opinion, there were two bands that really stood out as the cream of the crop of the new wave of slam. First, Cephalotropsy's 2007 album, which I absolutely fell in love with. This is a really interesting album to me because it goes beyond even quote-unquote brutal. It's so over the top that it goes into this like weird parallel dimension that's almost like avant-garde art music or something. And here's what it sounds like if you haven't heard it. Hold on a minute. Can we just take a minute to talk about that Cephalotropsy snare? That is like the perfect slam snare. I love that snare so much. My friends at Toontrack, please, for the love of God, make a slam library for Superior Drummer. And that library, all it needs to have in it, it needs to have a kick drum, it needs to have that snare, and maybe like 7 or 8 chinas and ice bells. And second, in my opinion, the single best release of the whole new wave of slam, Cerebral Incubation's second full length from 2012. I could tell you why it's so good, or I could just play a clip and it should be obvious to you. Basically, it's like Cephalotropsy on meth. It's that same putrid, ultra guttural vocal style, and oh my god, the guitar tone. I don't think anybody will ever beat this in terms of that super scooped jun kind of sound. It's just perfection. Which brings me to part number 6, why slam was special and interesting. If you've ever heard interviews of the early black metal guys, you probably remember them talking about how death metal had become boring to them because it was overproduced, because it emphasized quote-unquote being technical, that it had lost the edge and aggression that it once had, and that the rawness of black metal was a reaction to that. Now, I'm not a huge black metal fan, and I actually do like a lot of the modern death metal that those guys didn't, but I kind of agree with them. There was a massive glut of generic, formulaic death metals in the 90s and 2000s that was boring and, well, just not heavy. And what really turned me off to the whole genre of death metal for a long time was the melodic death metal mega trend that started in the late 90s. It was way too clean and non-threatening, and just, to me, the whole idea of melodic death metal at all is a total oxymoron. To me, melodic death metal is like saying non-alcoholic vodka. It just makes no sense. Like, those two things don't belong together. What it comes down to is that slam appealed to me for all the same reasons that early black metal was appealing to other people. Because it was raw and nasty with the aggression of hardcore, but with the heaviness and speed of death metal. To me, it was the exact opposite of melodeath, where that stuff was so accessible and friendly that people who didn't normally fuck with death metal at all were getting into it. For example, all the guys who went on to start the metalcore bands of the 2000s, slam was so out there that even metal fans hated it. And just to make this contrast super clear, let's compare this to this. And I don't know, maybe this makes me a hipster, but as I've said in some of my other videos, if a new art movement comes along that the established artists hate and talk shit on, I'm always interested, because that usually means they're doing something unique and interesting and innovative that years later we'll look back on as being really significant. But as always, the brightest flames burn out quickly, and that was the case here too. That nasty, raw slam that I loved started to be a lot less common, and the genre began to turn into something much closer to deathcore or brutal death metal. Which brings us to part 7, watering it down. A few minutes ago I mentioned the Russian bands like Catalepsy that were referred to as slam, but to me were cut from a different cloth. They had noticeably cleaner production than the rest of the genre, the drums are programmed and sounded like your standard quote-unquote metal drums, and their vocals are often more on the death metal or deathcore growl side of things than the ultra guttural gurgles of the true slam bands. I noticed that this style was getting a lot more traction than anything else in the slam genre, especially with the deathcore and metalcore kids, and of course I totally understand why. It addressed the two most common complaints with slam, which are the vocals and the production. And really, it wasn't that different from Carnifex or Whitechapel, just with more slam riffs and less breakdowns. But the specific moment where I think slam started to become corified is when Waking the Cadaver went semi-viral with the misheard lyric video for that one song that I'm not going to name, but you probably know the song I'm talking about. This one. The hardcore and deathcore kids love this, and of course I completely understand why, even though I personally think that Waking the Cadaver are absolutely terrible. It had all the stuff they were familiar with, like inhales and tremolo riffs and breakdowns, but it also had some admittedly pretty sweet slam parts, and even a funny video that they could share with their other friends from middle school on MySpace. And that was the genesis of the slamcore subgenre, which is basically deathcore bands throwing in some slam riffs, with Ingested being maybe the best example. To me, it's way too clean, with the sample replaced Inhuman drums, everything edited perfectly to the grid, the slick, polished production and the deathcore vocals, and a lot closer to what I thought was the boring, generic death metal of the late 90s and early 2000s. And the bands that didn't go in the slamcore direction went in the brutal death metal direction, with non-slam stuff like breeze, tremolo riffs, and skank beats creeping back in, and only a few slam riffs here and there to make it really at all slam. And there's zillions and zillions of these bands. Vulvodynia is a big one, but probably the best example of it to me is Extermination Dismemberment. And if you like this stuff, there's easily a few hundred more bands like this on the Slam Worldwide channel, so check that out. And also, props to them for just tirelessly promoting the genre for years and years and years. He's done a lot for Slam. But to me, this style is just so sterile and lifeless, especially if you compare it to like Cerebral Incubation or Early Devourment, where it just has that raw energy and aggression. It feels like they're just barely holding it together, and I'm sure if you took that session into Pro Tools or whatever and you looked, it's just not even close to on the grid. And by comparison, this new style of slam is very safe, very accessible, just not interesting to me at all. It's like non-alcoholic vodka. Which brings us to part 8, present day. To be honest, slam is almost certainly more popular than ever. It's just changed form in a way that I personally don't care for. So though slam may not officially be dead, in my eyes it's dead, at least creatively. So I could end this video by saying that it was ruined by all the new bands that didn't do it right, and things were better back in my day, and blah 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 blah. But as you should know by now, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be the guy to say that it sucks because it's different from how it was 10 or 15 years ago, especially because I'm probably one of like 5 people who actually liked it better when all the recordings sound like shit and the snares sounded like they were sampled from Saint Anger. So instead of doing that, instead of being that guy, I am going to choose to look at this in another light. Instead of being upset that new bands came along and changed it, I'm going to be stoked that slam has finally gotten the attention that it deserved. It's never going to be a commercial genre, obviously, but it's definitely bigger than it ever has been, bigger than I ever thought it could be. I would rather be stoked on how fun and exciting the prime years of the genre were and recognize its biggest contribution to the world of metal and hardcore, which is the slam riff. Because let's be real, even if that's the only thing slam gave to the world, that's a pretty fucking solid legacy, right? Because there are very, very few things in this life better than a great slam riff. Alright guys, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on what killed slam, or more accurately, how the genre changed over time, because like I said, it's actually more popular than ever. It's just changed into something that to me no longer feels like slam, but you know, I'm already starting to sound like an old man screaming at the cloud, so I should probably just quit while I'm ahead. And I should turn it over to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about the different difference between the old Slam and the new stuff. I would suspect that most of you guys probably think the old stuff just sounds like shit, and I'm insane for thinking it was better, but I don't know, you tell me. I want to know what you guys think. What are some exciting new bands that I should check out? Are there any current bands who are doing that older school style of Slam that I might like? Let me know in the comments. And like I said, if you like this video or any of my other videos, I'd love it if you give me a follow over on Instagram. There's a link to that in the description. Also, I did make a Spotify playlist for this video. There's a link in the description to that as well. But unfortunately, most of this stuff is not on Spotify, so it's a little sparse, but I did the best I could. And with that, I will sign off for now, but I will see you next time.
Konnichiwa! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's it all going? You know, one thing that I haven't made a video about in a while are aliens. And you know me, I love me aliens. I want to start off by saying that I'm a believer. You know, I know that I make these videos and I come across as somebody that probably is like too much of a skeptic, but if there's one thing that I hope in life to be true is that aliens will one day visit us, okay? Look, I already get it. I'm too goddamn old to explore the oceans, and I'm too goddamn young to absolutely explore the stars. So I hope, in some way, the aliens come to us and visit. So for the last month, ladies and gentlemen, there's been something brewing for anybody that hasn't been picking up. June 1st, a new asteroid got discovered, 31/Atlas. Now, this is a big paper, okay? Is the interstellar object alien technology? So you might be like, whoa, what kind of crackhead came up with this? Now, normally I wouldn't be talking about it, but one of the crackheads is Abraham Lowe. In fact, one of the departments this came out of was the astronomy department at Harvard University, okay? So to give you an idea, this is not some crackpot talking about this. These are people from Harvard, possibly bringing up a paper that talks about alien technology. Could it be an alien ship? Could it be something else? Well, let's try to figure it out. So July 1st, astronomers spotted this image, right? This thing. And they basically dubbed it A11PL3Z. So once NASA had confirmed that this was actually not just some new asteroid, in fact, it was actually an interstellar visitor, they renamed it 31/Atlas. And in fact, there's been so much shit that has been coming out, like from the Hindustani Times, okay, from Bharat itself, from India, whatever AI swap image they threw up, this little giant flying bird, it could be nuclear powered, says a Harvard scientist, okay? So there's a lot of claims being made, but one thing that I want to start off with is obviously show the audience what the fuck this thing looks like. So according to NASA, they've showcased what the trajectory of such a thing is. So 31/Atlas is actually kind of coming in between Earth and Mars. So, yeah, it's not something that's hitting close to us, and if you want something that shows you, how lucky you are every single day to be alive, is these are just asteroid watches. So, for instance, this is our planet right here. This is from eyes.nasa.gov, a government website, and right here, they actually showcase the closest asteroids to us. So things like 1998 SH2, 2025 Q0Q07, 2025 QV5, QK6, yada, yada, yada. So this one that looks like it's barreling towards us, that'll cross by Earth in around a day, 18 hours, 45 minutes, and 40 seconds. And you might be like, but Muda, what if it hits us? Well, it'll burn up in the atmosphere because it's only estimated to be 16.7 meters long, okay? Usually when you got like asteroids the size of like, I think it's like what is the actual name of it? The one that killed the dinosaurs. Or Chicxulub, the crater itself, the one that actually hit the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. And I don't know if these images are 3D renders or AI renders or whatever, but that is a rough explanation of what it looks like. Now, when an asteroid that size hits Earth, and I believe underneath this is like limestone deposits that led to even like a much bigger explosion. This ripples throughout the entire world, and it effectively killed all the dinosaurs, okay? So there's a reason why the dinosaurs don't exist. It's because a space rock hit Earth in such a way that it basically destroyed everything. There's like a million fucking nukes going off. Now, if another asteroid hits us, we're basically fucked, okay? We are dead, from my understanding, in the similar manner of this, okay? So that's why a lot of billionaires, I think, are paying big money to fly off to Mars or colonize other planets. So if the worst happens, at least they're alive, okay? God damn. So to give you an idea, scientists look at images like this little animation, where again they look through a Atlas telescope, which that's why it's named Atlas. Like it's a telescope. They have the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System that is in Chile. So what they have is they saw this little speck basically just like fly across. And of course, all of this happened, as you can see, within this like hour, right? So from 5:15 all the way to 6:20. So within the hour, they saw that move. Now, generally, when you see that, you're like, oh shit, something's moving really fast. Could it be an Alamal? Could it be a visitor? Well, let's see the actual logic behind it. Let's see how we came to this crazy explanation. So Abraham Loeb, or Avi Loeb, is an Israeli-American theoretical physicist who works on astrophysics and cosmology. And since 2007, he's been the director of the Institute for Theory and Computation at the Center of Astrophysics. Okay, so this guy is apparently pretty big news when it comes to this. Now, Loeb is a bit of a controversial figure in certain ways too. He really is somebody that wants to prove, extraterrestrial life is real. There have been other situations like Oumuamua situation a little bit. This was another paper where Avi Loeb from Harvard University wrote about the possibility of this large interstellar object discovered near Earth. This actual Oumuamua that appeared to, I guess, be the sort of like alien-looking ship, according to this person, right? And again, a lot of the important parts is that these are objects from outside the solar system, which from my understanding has only been 3, including 31 Atlas, which is a pretty huge deal at the end of the day. Now, of course, obviously, this is a paper that you can read, you can try to understand, but obviously they start talking about the possibility of an artificial origin, right? A possibility that this could actually be an object that is, an alien spacecraft, an alien piece of technology in nature, right? Now, I also feel that the financial incentive for Loeb is pretty obvious. There are books that are being sold on Amazon, hard copy, Kindle, whatever, and you can just read these for yourself where they talk about the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth. But obviously there have been other, scientists who have looked into this and said, listen guys, Oumuamua is not an alien spaceship, and the authors of the paper insult honest scientific inquiry to even suggest it. And this isn't some no-name Redditor, this is Paul Sutter, who's an astrophysicist at Ohio State University. In fact, Benjamin Weiner of the University of Arizona writes, can we talk about how annoying it is that Avi Loeb promotes speculative theories about alien origins, forcing the rest of us to do scientific grunt work of walking back these rumors? So yeah, he's not exactly a figure that's completely good. He's somebody that I think really wants to be the first finger pointer at anything alien. And honestly, I can kind of understand the frustration of some of the other people in the sphere if you're just trying to like debunk claims or explain to the average person that no, maybe this isn't really Alamal yet. But now the newest thing is obviously 31 Atlas. So right over here, this paper alongside Adam Hibbard and Adam Kroll, they're going and saying at this early stage of passage, 31 Atlas, the recently discovered interstellar interloper, has displayed various anomalous characteristics determined with photometric and astrometric observations is largely a pedagogical exercise. In this paper, we present additional analysis into the astrodynamics of 31 Atlas. I have no idea about any of this alien technology shit. I'm just an interested space observer, okay? I played way too much No Man's Sky to admit it. I haven't given any more money to Star Citizen, but goddamn, it's the closest I'm gonna get to exploring the fucking stars. I need this to be real, or at least something entertaining. So look here, they mention things like, obviously, the Fermi paradox, which for anybody that doesn't know that, the Fermi paradox is the belief that since we haven't encountered any aliens, maybe there is some great filter that sort of kills life when it becomes too advanced, which is a pretty scary thing to think about, being alone in the universe, right? But of course, then they go down over here, and of course, they bring up certain pieces of evidence. So for instance, the orbital plane of 31 Atlas lies virtually in the ecliptic through retrograde, okay? So then, of course, they also say that it's too large to be an asteroid, which, yes, some things can be too large. I believe when you get past, 900 kilometers diameter, they just start calling things like dwarf planets or something. So, of course, I say that 31 Atlas shows no evidence of cometary outbursts. So, when, an ice giant gets near the sun and it starts, fucking heating up and, giving off gas? This appears to show no evidence of that.
it approaches unusually close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. It achieves perihelion on the opposite side of the Sun to Earth. The optimal point to do a reverse solar orbit and stay bound to the Sun is at the perihelion. So yeah, this is all the evidence. Then again, if you're like an astrophysicist watching, you can agree or disagree with Loeb or the team. So he even mentioned how that Oumuamua, like when they were talking about like the discourse around it, and he said that it was mired in bitter controversy. Yet nevertheless, it seems the authors as a hypothesis perfectly worthy of pursuing, in a similar fashion to the hypothesis proposed in this paper. So they employed something called optimum interplanetary trajectory software. Sounds like something out of System Shock. The interplanetary mission design tool to investigate the likelihood and implication of 31 Atlas being an alien spacecraft. Is it an ALMAO? Is it? Well, we have to see. So they say if 31 Atlas is alien tech, okay, they start bringing up again its patterns, right? They bring up like its orbital speed, they bring up kinetic energy, they bring up a whole bunch of things here. So of course, one of the big pieces of like evidence they bring up is the fact that this approaches very close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter during its visit, as we've seen in the map earlier. So of course, when they analyze it, right, by varying the time of entry into the solar system, assuming 31 Atlas could have any time come into it and happened to do so such that it came within the observed close approaches of Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, the probability of that alone is 0.005%. So obviously, they even admit in this paper too that, yeah, we're probably looking for like patterns, and the human brain is really good at trying to like find a pattern, especially when there isn't a pattern sometimes, right? They even say it. As extremely strange as that appears, the propensity for the human brain to see patterns in what is actually random scatter is well known. At the heart of this, any self-respecting scientist will have to address at some point in their career, is an outlier and a sample a consequence of random expected fluctuation, or is there ultimately a sound reason for that discrepancy? Could it be alien life? Or is it just both? So yeah, obviously, I think the media kind of took this paper and went even further than they had to. Because obviously, when you start looking at like other, reputable, like fucking scientific papers like People.com, super fast, new comet could be an evil alien technology. Now, I don't know if this is an evil alien technology, to be honest. I don't know if there's anything that's evil in here. I think if it comes out to, this is probably just like hype beasting by the actual news media. So if you look at this image right over here, this is from like the International Gemini Observatory. So this like whole string of colors, that looks weird, bro. Like that actually looks really weird. And actually, there is a good explanation for this. These rainbow-like colors are actually captured because astronomers take multiple sequential exposures of different color filters all throughout. And it basically shows that this was actually moving. So the light is actually recorded at different positions in each of these filters, which is why it looks like a cool rainbow. Just wanted to add this in to give it a little extra explanation, because I've seen some people think that this is the size of a whole ship, even though there's just no way that a ship is probably going to be that big, okay? And if it is that big, goddamn it, I think there's an entire species living on it. But yeah, just one thing that I wanted to add. And of course, obviously, look, I'm not going to sit here and just like show Avi Loeb's greatest hits. I wanted to show you this because it seems like Avi Loeb is a guy that has a pretty good track record for the most part, but in like the recent years, a lot of people have kind of said that he wants to be the one guy that almost he wants to become the individual that is literally going to be the one that discovers aliens, right? Like this one user writes, he so badly wants to be the astronomer that first discovers aliens, just so that he just won't have any evidence to the contrary. Not to mention his toxicity behind the scenes is rather unbelievable. Now the thing about Avi Loeb is obviously he has a financial incentive with his book and projects like the Galileo Project. And I would imagine that, for him, he's got a pretty established career working in pretty big places, and now he kind of has jumped into it, and I hate to use the term grifter here, because, again, he does have a career, right? It's not like I'm looking at Terrence Howard and even I could debunk him. This is a guy that has some serious cred. But the way that he reacts around people that have, I would say, equivalent credentials, or, people that have also worked in great places is insane. So, for instance, this is Jill Carter, a former director at SETI. She asks a pretty, honest question, right? She's frustrated. Listen to this.
So, Avi, I get a little bit pissed off when you throw the entire scientific culture under the bus, because some of us have been thinking about and building instruments to find anomalies for a very long time. And I think that when we say that if we ever are going to announce such a detection, that we require extraordinary evidence, we're doing that as a way of differentiating ourselves from the pseudoscience that is so much a part of popular culture.
So Jill's got a great point here. You know, she's basically saying, listen, you're like a Harvard guy. You are the establishment. Okay? You're not some, you're not some maverick who's out in the wild. This guy has had a long stoic career that basically has allowed him to be called by a lot of these big, like, a lot of these big media organizations, so they can use, the Harvard, astrophysicist, the Harvard expert as the, basis for, this alien spacecraft story. And she's right. If it's not 100% proven, all the other people have to waste time trying to disprove this shit to everybody else out there. Now, his response is actually wild. He gets a little frazzly here, so listen to this.
To your first point, I'm talking about a factor of 1,000 in funding. I'm not talking about a factor of 2 over a decade increase in funding. I'm saying there is a discrepancy by a factor of 1,000 in what needs to be the case relative to what is the case of the community that you are talking about. A factor of 1,000 is a big factor in funding, and moreover, it's even a bigger factor in bullying. Because anyone that makes a suggestion in the direction of technological signature is being bullied and ridiculed.
I don't
wait a second. Let me finish. Now, my second point is...
So the funding really hits me because I think it becomes pretty apparent what, Avi and, his team are kind of reaching for. It's like, just give us this money to prove, this alien spacecraft, theory is true, even though it's in the face of so much disapproval and legitimate disapproval from other valid experts in the field too. I mean, it's kind of crazy, It is.
This motherfucker done just give
up. But again,
up.
what gets me over here is his reaction going forward, right? This guy starts going after the bloggers who discuss this. Listen to this.
We need extraordinary evidence and then step on the grass and not allow it to grow, which is currently the case. We need extraordinary evidence, but anyone that mentions this possibility is ridiculed by some blogger that doesn't even write a single paper in a decade. That makes no sense whatsoever. This blogger should first practice science.
Well, some of us do.
No, let me finish. How dare people make statements about scientists that explore these possibilities within the scientific method? That's the acidic culture that I'm talking about.
Now you can watch this exchange in entirety, and the reality is, unlike traditional online internet drama, this got sorted out pretty easy. I think Avi emailed Jill, and then was like, yeah, I get what you did in the field. They sort of hashed it out. And the thing is, when you look at it from the sidelines, and you're a dumbass like me, you can kind of almost see both points. She doesn't want to blatantly fund pseudoscience, and he just thinks that, hey man, this is a wild theory. I want at least people to be researching into it. And the thing is, I kind of agree with Jill a little bit more, obviously with the rest of the scientists. This is not the only guy that is an expert in the field, right? He's just the guy that's saying that this is the one thing that could be an alien. And obviously other researchers at SETI, senior researchers, have kind of looked at this stuff and said, look, nothing about these asteroids show that there is a possibility of them being anything more than a natural occurrence. A rare natural occurrence, but a natural occurrence. And of course, obviously, they also contend that because this guy's like a Harvard physicist or Harvard researcher, Harvard expert, you do have to kind of take him somewhat seriously in regards to this. Again, this is not a Terrence Howard that we're talking about. This is somebody with real cred. And of course, when it comes to other scientists that have looked at this entire situation too, Daryl Seligman of Michigan State University writes, there's been pretty numerous telescopic observations that 31 Atlas is just displaying classical signatures of cometary activity. Samantha!
I appreciate y'all dropping in. I hope you guys have had a wonderful evening, a wonderful day, a wonderful morning, whatever time it is, wherever in the world you're tuning from. If you've watched the replay and you've made it this far, I appreciate you. If you've liked what you've seen, or you dislike it, dislike the video. If you like it, like it. And as always, I appreciate you.